All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Welcome to our general membership meeting of January 29, 2023. I'm going to ask everybody to please rise for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for all our departed brothers and sisters and our brave men and women of the armed forces who sacrificed to protect our freedoms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to start with a roll call of officers. President Kemp McCaffrey is here. Secretary Treasurer Danny Pacheco. Here. Vice President Chuck White. Here. Trustee Charles Paul. Here. Trustee John Zappoli. Here. And I know Trustee Ed Polgar is here, and I just see Recording Secretary Laura Campione has arrived. With that, I'm going to call on our Secretary, Recording Secretary Laura to read the minutes of the meeting of October 30th, 2022. Laura, you want to jump to the financial report first? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go. Laura's put everything together. We're going to go to our Secretary Treasurer Danny Pacheco to read the financial report for the months of October, November, December 2022. Is there a motion to read the summary of those 3 months? Motion. Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. So moved. Okay. Danny, read this. Give us a summary if you would.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The financial report for October, November, and December 2022. We had income of membership dues of $245,574.25, initiations and reinitiations of $25,987.61, withdrawn transfers $2, assessments and fines $8,116.02, other income $33,893.01 for a total income of $313,572.92. Expenses we had in salaries $103,206.21. Expenses allowance of $3,600. For capital tax we paid $70,909.87. Contributions $1,200. Benefits paid $54,717.84. Office and administrative expenses were $29,303.02. Legal fees we paid $15,016.80. Other professional fees were $14,070. Taxes we paid $8,019.44. Auto expenses $203. Other expenses $113.33. For total expenses of $300,559.51 with a net income of $13,013.41 surplus. Thank you.
Are there any questions or additions, corrections to the financial report as read? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to accept. Motion, second by Anthony. Anybody, all in favor? Opposed? So moved. Laura, are we ready for the minutes? Okay, I'm going to bring up Recording Secretary Laura Campione to read the minutes of the meeting of October 30th, 2022.
Okay, good morning. Okay, so general membership meeting from Teamsters, October 30th, 2022. President McCaffrey called the meeting to order at 10:15 a.m. There was a pledge of allegiance followed by a moment of silence for our brave men and women who sacrificed to protect our freedoms. There was a roll call of officers. All were present except for Recording Secretary Laura Campione. President McCaffrey called on Trustee Paul to read the minutes for July 30th, 2022. General membership meeting. President McCaffrey asked for a motion to accept the meeting as read. Financial report. President McCaffrey called on Secretary Treasurer Danny Pacheco to read the financial report. President McCaffrey asked for a motion to read the summary of the financial report for July, August, and September of 2022. September 2022. There was a motion, and Secretary Treasurer Danny Pacheco read financial report for the months of July, August, and September 2022. trustees declaration. President McCaffrey called on trustee John Sepoli III to read the trustees declaration.
Did you get your money, right?
Trustees of Local 707 Executive Board have examined the books and records for the local union for the months of July, August, and September 2022, and found them to record it correctly in the bank balances verified. Unfinished business, New York State paid leave, sick paid leave. We continue to have problems with the way the employees are interpreting the New York State paid leave. Penske Logistics first said it didn't pertain to them until we filed labor board charges. Now they want to trade vacation days for sick days. YRCW is requiring approvals of contractual days before accruing New York state sick days. And T-Force has payroll issues at certain terminals. Local 707 has filed a complaint with New York State Department of Labor and is awaiting interpretation from the Department of Labor through Legislative Council. Midwood Transcare integration. 2 years ago, a non-union company, Transcare, acquired Midwood Ambulance. Instead of losing 100 union members, Transcare agreed to transfer 50 non-union of their ambulance workers into local 707 bargaining unit and maintain the Midwood name. The primary reason was local 707 medical benefits are important to attracting and retaining workers. New business. Contracts recently ratified, none. Contracts being negotiated, Midwood, Transcare, Westside Tennis, ABF Freight, T-Force, and Hudson News. YRC New Penn integration, all involved locals were sent the proposed change of operations, good and welfare. Workers' comp update. Greg, how do you say his name? Caggiano, I'm not Italian, sorry. And Miller's work comp attorney spoke at the meeting. The Health and Welfare Fund, new medical cards with new numbers were sent out to make sure to update with your providers. COB census forms were sent out, please fill out and send back to the local. Surprise Billing Act was sent out December, but corrected notices being sent out to correct effective date. Effective September 1st, the Surprise Billing Act will take effect for the welfare fund. When you have an emergency and are treated by out-of-network provider at an in-network hospital or ambulatory surgical center, you are protected by the surprise billing and balancing bill. Pension fund update. On February 16th, the fund received $725 million. Since February 18th, the fund released $136 million in make-up payments to retirees. The amount for the future benefits is $589 million and change. The amount for future benefits, final PBGC guidance fixes many of the issues of negative arbitration, including interest rate assumptions used to calculate liabilities and ability to invest SFA assets and equities. The fund expects to file a supplement application on August 8th. The first day an application can be submitted. The meeting adjourned at 11:45 a.m. Respectfully, Laura Campione.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to minutes as read? Yes.
Oh, I have a question, what law is that?
Yes.
With the emergency?
The surprise billing act?
Yeah, can we talk about that? I just went up, there's additions, corrections to the minutes, but I'm gonna talk about that later on
What is
again.
that?
I went up,
No, just
Okay.
about.
Yeah, you want me to discuss about it?
Bill, what to do with it.
yeah, so I'll talk about that, because I'm later on under the good and welfare, but if there are no other additions or corrections to the minutes, is there a motion to accept as read? Aye, Anthony again? It makes it easier this way. So, okay, all in favor, opposed? So moved, thank you. Next, we're gonna go to old business. Trustees declaration, because we went out of order there. I'm gonna call on trustee Paul to read the trustees declaration for the months of October, November, December 2022.
Good morning, everybody. The trustees of Local 707 Executive Board have examined the books and records for the local union 707 for the months of October, November, December of 2022, and have found them to be correct and the bank balance is verified.
Very good, thank you. We're gonna go to old business. We've spoken to a few of the affected locals, but the YRC New Penn change is on hold. I can tell you, I had a conversation with the Eastern Region Freight Director and the National Freight Director and the president of YRC, no, My Yellow, I'm like, Roy, I don't even know what this company is called anymore. And Sean O'Brien told him in no uncertain terms, until this is acceptable to the union, don't even come back and ask for a hearing on this, because there's so many inconsistencies in this change of operation, they're not even gonna give it the time of day. So they need to figure out what they're doing, and it's gotta be in conformance with the contract, which we believe it did not, before they even come back to us. So that's on hold, and we're not even sure when that will ever be discussed, if ever again. So, but they have to figure things out. So, anything on that change? Anybody have any questions?
They're gonna change the names on the trucks again?
No, I don't.
Take the
I still
orange
see
sign
some
off the
roadway.
green.
Yeah. So that's not the first priority, you know. So anyway, all right. So that's on hold for now. The New York State paid sick leave. We're still waiting for a final determination from New York State on that. I guess things move slowly there. But the only really affected company has been Penske. The other companies have complied with the law, which basically says that they have to give that additional sick time without going and dipping into your vacation and personal time, which some of the at least one of the employers is trying to do. So waiting on a decision. In terms of Midwood and Transcare, they have started transitioning people from their non-union unit Transcare into Midwood. Danny, is that officially called Midwood, or is it still Transcare?
Midwood.
It is Midwood
Any new
ambulance.
hires are gonna be in the Midwood, no more Transcare.
No more Transcare. So that's a good thing. They're moving in. And as we said before, the biggest reasons they're doing that is that our health plan is attractive to them, you know, because of our economies of scale and what we have to offer. It's better medical care that they can provide to their members than they could get on the outside. So that's one of the selling points that we have to offer, and it's working out well for us there. Anybody else have anything else on the old business? Okay, here and now we're going to new business. Contracts recently ratified. None were recently ratified, but being negotiated now are Westside Tennis, ABF Freight, and T-Force, and we're gonna talk about the T-Force and ABF Freight negotiations, which are coming up. So in fact, I'll do it right now. ABF, we're expected to have meetings very shortly. We're in the process of still getting all the surveys back, and they're putting together all the information we got from the members from ABF. Once that is done, they're going to schedule what they call a two-person committee. This is a busy year for national contracts. We have the T-Force, we've got ABF, and UPS, even though it doesn't affect us, but it takes a lot of resources out of the IBT to get all these national contracts. As you know, UPS is the largest employer in the Teamsters. So, but that is a separate division, the package division. We're focused on the freight division. As I said before, my good friend John Murphy is the freight director, and he's focused on this. The first two-man committee is going to be for T-Force, and that is scheduled for February 9th. Myself and Vice President Chuck White, who represents the workers up in Montgomery and Nanuet. We're going to be attending that meeting. They are going to give us what it is. Down in Washington, they're going to give us a presentation of all the proposals that we have, that the union side has, and that's going to be based on the input we received from the surveys that were sent out to all the members and that we got back. I know one of the biggest issues is going to be the pension plan, the integration of those two plans. There's a lot of questions about it, and that's one of the things that is going to be front and center when we in these negotiations. So we expect to have a lot of clarity on that issue, in addition to improving that medical and also wages, which is always out there first and foremost with everybody. So we'll have a report at the next meeting. We're going to do we'll have small meetings with the T-Force members and the stewards to keep them appraised of what's going on. And then I'm waiting to get the timetable on ABF when they're going to do that two-person meeting, and we're going to keep everybody in the loop on a regular basis about what's going on with those negotiations as well. So we have a busy couple of months coming up with those negotiations. We have any questions about that? Nope. Okay. Next, anyone else have anything on the new business? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna bring up Rob Rogers. He's with Miller and Caggiano. So he's going to talk about some of the updates that we had in workers' comp, or just some helpful hints about what you should and shouldn't do. Rob and his firm have done a great job in terms of representing our members. He's got some brochures in the back, some pens, some cards. Pass them around to your members. We've, as you said, Stu is spending more time in Minnesota than he did before, and I've found Rob and Greg Caggiano and the whole firm to be very responsive to our needs. They give you their cell phone numbers, so you have a question. I haven't had any complaints, and that's all I ask. No complaints, and they do great work, and they've started to bring a lot of these cases across the finish line for us and getting it done. So with that, I'm going to bring up Rob Rogers from Miller and Caggiano. Thank you, Rob.
Hi everyone, my name is Rob Rogers, as Kevin said, with Miller and Caggiano. We cover workers' compensation, personal injury. If the disability becomes, career-ending, Social Security disability as well. We also handle local and state pensions for some of the members if there are any municipal employment as well. So what I started to see since we've started working with your members is I've seen some of the insurance carriers for the employers are sending out return to work in a modified capacity. If you receive one of those letters, you gotta call us right away. Call one of your board members, trustees, whoever's in you guys are the trustees. Make sure the members know to call you guys, because you have to make sure if you're able to go back to work. I'm not sure the ramifications if they can even go back to a modified duty, if it's more like sitting at a desk and pushing. Okay. So you want to make sure that you discuss that with your doctor to see if that works within your restrictions, because what they're trying to do is if they give you this letter saying, hey, we offer light duty, and you don't go back, they're going to tell the insurance company to stop paying you while you're out because you're basically abandoning the job. They offered modified work and you didn't go back. So if you do get one of the letters, please discuss with us. Make sure you discuss with your doctor to make sure it doesn't put you at any further risk or harm if you should be returning to work in that capacity. The other thing is just always make sure with the initial accident injury documented. Everyone should notify, the member should notify you and notify myself, Mr. Greg Caggiano, Todd Miller. We all have our cell phones out. If anyone needs my cell phone number, I'll give it to you after the meeting. This way, if you have any questions, you can reach out directly to me. You have a question in the back?
Yeah, I'm with New Penn, and I do have 2 questions issues.
Okay.
We deal with a company called Cedric.
Yep.
And there have been situations where they're literally trying to pressure employees to speak to a nurse, or we don't even know if this person is a nurse, and also fill out a report when a person does not want to fill out a report. We have a right to report a claim. They just can't stop us from not filling out a claim if we wanted to, and I put a stop to that in one situation.
Okay.
But and it also states in the contract, we got 30 days to report a claim. So I want to know if you could clarify that.
It's the same with workers' compensation. You have 30 days to report your claim. So obviously, always better to document it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But sometimes, everyone has an old school mentality. I get it. You maybe get a little minor injury, you don't think it's something, but it doesn't go away. And you have the right to report that. And they'll give you a hard time for sure, but that's why you need to have the help of an attorney to make sure we can push it through and get you covered on that claim. Because otherwise you're not going to get your medical treatment under the comp injury. If you're forced to miss time from work, they're not going to be paying you. We're going to have to litigate it if they're fighting it, really hard. Now, as far as the nurse, like when you first get hurt, like this.
Yeah, they're saying that they won't give us a claim number until we speak to a nurse, which I find that illegal. That seems illegal to me.
No, you're not
But
supposed
that's
to.
what they're doing. They're saying it's company policy. We can't give you the claim number until you speak to the nurse. To me, that's ridiculous. If I filed a report, I should have a claim number.
Yeah.
Go see a treating physician or my own doctor, which New York State law clearly states we get to see our doctor of our own choice.
Correct. You get to see your own doctor. You don't have to see Sedgwick or any of the other providers' doctors, because that they have the right to schedule an independent medical
Yes, they
examination,
can.
right? But they don't have the right to dictate what doctors you see, what providers you see. You and your members all have the right to choose your own doctors.
Is there any way we can get anything in writing for the members, the legal, because they're saying that we have to speak to a nurse in order to get a claim number. They're stating this.
Let me, Mike, let me get clarification with the IBT about that, and I'll make sure, and I'll work with Rob to make sure that we have a clear, concise answer in terms of contract versus legal.
Yeah.
We'll get an answer for you,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah, typically under workers' comp, that's not required. If that was something that was collectively bargained, you know, that,
It's definitely not in our collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
I'll wait till, I'll get back with you.
Again, with workers' comp, sometimes you guys are driving, you could have motor vehicle accidents, you have a personal injury associated with that workers' comp claim. You want to make sure that they're being handled and taken care of together, because there are certain pitfalls or downfalls to an attorney going in one direction on a personal injury case and, you know, providing you the care and treatment you need on your workers' comp. You got to make sure that, you know, the interests are aligned, because you know, most personal injury attorneys are just trying to make the dollar off the accident. With the comp claim, that's an insurance claim, you're covered medically for life. You want to make sure you're protected always with that. Does anyone else have any other questions regarding workers' comp, or, you know, how else we can help you?
Very good. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for coming, appreciate it. All right. Rob has some, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rob. And you can be casual next time, you don't have to wear a jacket and tie. Just, we have to, they will get paid, so. I know that. I don't want you looking better than me, that's the bottom line here. Rob's got some pens and cards. Please ask the stewards to take back some of the information, so if somebody asks you, hey, I got hurt, what should I do? Call these guys, they have their cell phone numbers. We didn't always have that, and I don't think we ever had that, and they've been very responsive in the cases that they've handled so far. So make sure you get that information, pass it on to the members, and make sure they utilize them. So with that, also under welfare, we talked about that surprise billing act. There's something new, but probably every 2 months I get another bill that I have to deal with where someone is going in and it's outside the surprise billing, which is great, because they used to kill you in the emergency room or emergency surgery, and we'd have to fight with them. But the newest thing now is assistant surgeons. They'll bring in an assistant surgeon to assist. So you'll have the surgeon who's in network, the primary surgeon, and we pay him the allowable. Then you have an assistant surgeon, not quite sure what they do, but they end up charging 3 or 4 times the amount of the allowable that the surgeon gets. You know, so in common sense would say, this doesn't seem right. Well, they said, well, they weren't in the network, and this is what we charge. So this will alleviate a lot of those, but in many cases, you know, you'll get an elective surgery, or you're in the hospital afterwards for something that's not an emergency situation. You need to make sure that all your doctors, anesthesiologists, anyone that's going to be handling your care, you have to say, are they in network, and you need to verify that.
How are you supposed to do that when somebody just pokes their head through the door and then a week later they send you a bill?
Well, that's
What do we do with the bills? Do we forward them bills?
yes, absolutely, and they've been handled, and I negotiate those bills with those people, and we said they never authorize their care, okay? But you know you're going in for something, they have to go in, is everybody in network, and they've been getting better about it. More and more anesthesiologists are out of there, but the ones that gotchas out there are these assistant surgeons. They just show up. I don't know how or why, but they do, and their bills definitely show up. So just try and be more vigilant. If stuff falls through the cracks, I'm the one that picks up the phone and negotiates with them and gives them the, you know, WTF, you know, where did this come from? So we're usually able to, for the most part, negotiate those down to close to the allowable, and you file an appeal with the Board of Trustees, and so that generally we figure things out. But you know, it's a lot easier if we just in advance say who's who, and understand when you go to a doctor and you go to a practice, and you know keep going to your doctor, and it's, well, Dr. So-and-so who's in the network, or see he's not in today, can you go see Dr. So-and-so? And Dr. So-and-so isn't in the network. You assume that he is, you know. At that point, you just say, does he take Empire Blue Cross? You know, so just ask the questions in advance to make sure that, you know, to try and prevent as much as possible. And but at the end of the day, we try and figure things out, you know, and that's what we do. So.
To get you at your weakest moment, Kevin.
Absolutely. That's why the surprise billing for the emergency room care, you're not thinking about anything else. I'm just talking about in advance, when you know you're going in for elective surgery, you're going into a doctor's office for a regular scheduled appointment, and someone, they say some of this, and a lot of times it'll be, we'll go see this guy down the hall. Just ask the question, does he take Empire Blue Cross? All right, just to make sure. All right, otherwise it's caused all of us a lot more time and effort.
If you go into the emergency room, planning on coming out that day, and you come out a week later, obviously.
You're covered.
People are gonna be coming and seeing you.
You are covered under
Knowing who they are.
Roy, you're covered under the Surprise Billing Act, and it's one of the best things that's happened now. And we say, and we negotiate with those out-of-network people, and we sit there and say, you either take this, or they're called baseball arbitration, where they have to take a chance of going to an arbitrator that will decide whose is fair, you know. So we generally work it out. We haven't had those occasions pop up yet, but it's really good protection. The doctors know it. That's why we're seeing more and more of them going in network. Yes, Christine.
I just wanted to say that it's not enough to ask if they take it, because they take everything, as long as it's money. You need to ask if they participate.
Participate, yeah.
Because that changes everything.
Yep, yep.
And that takes away some of
Yep, if they're participating, that's it, the terminology.
Okay.
Very good. So that's a good thing. Another law that was just passed says that they can't hold about credit reporting. Someone goes after you for an unpaid medical bill, where we have these situations where they charge 10 times as much as what the allowable is, and it was one of these situations where you didn't know who this person was, and they said, well, we're going to put it on your credit report. They can't put it on your credit report anymore for outstanding medical bills, which is a good thing. So they can threaten you with that, you know, and it gives us the ability, time to negotiate with them, because they can't put it on your credit report. It gives us another bargaining chip when we're trying to get them to charge us a reasonable fee. So that has been pretty good news. Next is we've updated summary plan descriptions for all our medical plans. So we're going to be getting in the final review, and they're going to be going to print. We're going to ask, as we did last time, for the assistance of the shop stewards to be able to, because these are big documents, they're bound, and to distribute them, ask people to sign that they received them. We need that, and so we make sure that they've got a copy of that summary plan description. It's legally binding, that we have some acknowledgement that they received it. So we're going to ask the shop stewards for some assistance in that. Then one of the things we want to do, you can see we've been filming now. We used to have it on Zoom, but it just got out of control with the Zoom. People on Zoom, they couldn't hear what was going on and everything else, because the background noise, and people wouldn't always mute, and it doesn't always work. Muting somebody comes on afterwards, you have to mute them. So what we're doing now in the last couple of times is that we're filming this, and we're putting it on. We have a YouTube channel called Teamsters Local 707. So we're going to put it out there, notice, so that we'll let you know that this will be available. If you want to be able to see what happened, maybe you missed something, or somebody couldn't make the meeting, they can see what's going on. It will be on our YouTube channel. I'm going to task one of my executive board members with coming up with some way to do a little more of outreach to people. We've spoken about a few different methods of doing it, and you know, maybe we're going to let them. Who's working on that union app? Who wants to talk about that?
That would be.
All right, that would be John DePoli. I tasked him with, so I'll let him explain everything about it. It was my idea, but I asked him to do it, so I'm gonna allow him.
He's the stucky.
Yeah, you're gonna see more of this now. Good morning. To do all the talking.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's basically, because everybody has a cell phone now, so it'll be an app that will be on the phone. You would download, we would send an invite, and then that will be our ticket to send out email blasts, notices, and also you can put the union store on it if you want to buy, you know, shirts and hats. Just make it easy so everybody can get it, because sometimes people say, oh, we didn't know about the union notice, we know about this, we know about that. So this will be a, you know, as long as everybody utilizes it, we can get it out to everybody one time and get any information that we need across, right out to the members. Makes it simple and easy. We're working on that to see what getting different views from people that are using certain different apps. And when we finally come up with one, we'll talk about it, and you'll get an invite to download it. Just gotta download it and let you and use it. And then if anybody has any questions with it, you can always ask. If any problems with the app or whatever. But that's coming very soon. Thank you.
What's the cost on that?
One of them I'm looking at, with the amount of members we have, is gonna cost us $2,000 a year to have it going. So we're trying to see if there's anything else out there to help bring the cost down.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is that a good idea? People like that idea? I think so, yeah, keep it on your phone, you got it.
Everybody has a phone now.
I know,
Work on a flip phone?
yeah, the jitterbugs. Can you get the one that takes the jitterbugs for the retirees? Anthony? Yeah, I'll get to that on this issue.
That's good, yeah.
So I know I saw Frank back here, and I'm just sitting there, and as I walked in, when I walked in, I said, oh no, I said, because we fax these all to all the jobs and mail them, but at T-Force in Bay Shore, they don't always get it. And did they get the notice? Did you see it? Okay, good, okay. So, but this is the way that we, no excuses, everyone's got them, and I'm thinking about if there's a way that maybe it gets a little tricky, maybe we can do something with the health, welfare, and pension as well, try and push out some of their stuff as well, and maybe get them to pay part of the cost. I just think it as I was sitting here, because it would be helpful. I mean, because a lot of stuff you see in this meeting, a lot of the stuff is about welfare and pension stuff. So, but I think that's the better way to go, as opposed to a Facebook page where everybody rants and raves and yells and gets angry with each other. So, but I think this would be a good way to just push out information. And I think that that may be the direction. I think will be money well spent and way for us to communicate with the members. Roy, you had a question?
Is lab work coverage ever gonna be upgraded, because it still seems very expensive?
Lab work?
Yeah, when you get.
You have to go, if you go in network, for preventive care, it shouldn't cost you anything. Yeah, it shouldn't cost you anything. There are certain tests out there. There's the, if you're talking about the DNA testing.
Like blood work.
Blood work shouldn't cost you, if you go for your regular physical, zero copay. Anything you go for preventive, it's no copay. Okay, if it's something that's scheduled, a colonoscopy, you should have no, if you're regularly scheduled colonoscopy, it shouldn't be, there's no copay for that. Your regular physical exam, all the associated tests with your regular physical exam will not be. If your doctor says, well, yeah, I don't like the way this looks, I need you to go for an MRI or something, you're gonna have the co-insurance involved with that. But if you use Quest, and I wanna get it right, I know Quest is, because I use them, they're in network, but I'll get a list of all the, we'll push that out to the jobs to make sure, that as a reminder of these are the in-network labs that we have.
But if you go to New York Cancer and Blood, and then they send it to the lab that they want.
Yeah, well, you have to tell them you can't send it to any lab. Then you're subject to, just like anything else. You need to say, look, with these are the participating labs, you need to go send them to those labs. Otherwise it's just the allowable. So I mean, some of the labs are, they charge whatever they want. So. Anybody else have anything else about the on the medical side? Okay, so we get those SPDs, and I'm just trying to remember what the other, some of the pet peeves that the office people have. They say, well, it's always the same thing. We're not doing at this point. Next year we're going to be doing, at the end of the year we're going to be doing census, the COB census forms that you need to fill out. But one thing that I'm really endeavoring to try and get to is these electronic EOBs. When you go to the doctor, you get a stack of mail from us, and I'm not sure everybody reads them, but we have to do it. But there is a way that we can get people to authorize electronically, and I think most people would like to be able to get, either go on a website, a secure website, to look up what their procedures were, or get an email to say, these are what, that same information we put in the mail to you, digitally. You can look at it, review it, and not to have a stack of papers sitting around, which sometimes get lost, more often than not gets lost, and you don't always look at them. So we're working on getting those electronic EOBs. The problem is that we have to get sign off from each one of the participants to say that they accept electronic receipt of their explanation of benefits. Yes, bro.
How you doing, Kevin?
How you doing?
Question.
Sure.
Pertaining to medical. I just recently got married.
Congratulations. We never thought it was going to happen. We never-
She's retired military.
Okay.
And of course, you know, I'm entitled to the VA benefits.
Yes.
Under her. How does that work? I know before, like, they went with the first or last name.
Yep.
Like,
But you mean in terms of, you were primary with us?
Okay.
Okay, so are you talking about the dependents or your spouse?
the spouse, I'm sorry.
The spouse. So her primary would still be whatever benefits she has.
Okay.
You know, is it, and I'm not quite sure about the coordination of the VA benefits. Would that be primary to her, or is that kind of like a secondary insurance?
No, that's her primary.
That's her primary. So then that would continue to be her primary benefit would be the VA benefits, and whatever they don't cover, it would be secondary.
Okay, now, because she lives in Alabama, but she'll be moving here,
Okay.
and the VA hospital is over, you know.
Let's talk after the meeting, because I want to, as we're talking, I'm not sure about something that I may have said. So
Okay.
let's talk after the meeting, and then we'll talk, because I want to find out exactly, because VA benefits is a little different, you know,
Okay.
it's not the same. So, but let's talk after the meeting, to be sure, okay? So, anybody else recently married here, or?
That marriage should work.
Anybody recently divorced here? Hey, the reason I ask that is because we still have issues where people don't report the divorce to us, and that spouse continues, the former spouse continues to use the benefits, and you are the ones that are ultimately on the hook for that, you know, for the benefits that he or she used and they should not have. So just, you know, so not if you're thinking about getting divorced, but if you actually are in the process of or you're getting divorced, please let us know, and then and we'll make sure that we make sure that they're taken off the coverage at the appropriate time. So, all right. Pension fund update. So let me answer Anthony's question first. So we have on there a pension fund calculator, which I plan on going live. Oh, here's a trustee Eddie Pogar. Thank you. We're just ready to pull a 50-50. You're just in time. Yeah. We have a pension calculator that will be able to, you'll be able to go in there, sign up on our website, roadcarrier707.com, and be able to actually do a calculation of what your pension would be, could be, depending upon which year you expected to retire. So we expect to go live with that shortly, and still like in the testing stage, and we'll let you know when that happens and give people the ability to know what their benefit will be. So. Pension fund update, as was, good, question.
Get on that calculator.
Yeah.
On the website.
Mhm.
It used to be your RDF number and whatever password you made.
Yeah.
You changed all the RDF numbers. How do you sign on?
Use your new RDF number.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let me make a note of that. I think that's what it works. I haven't signed on since they changed it.
Just the number, no letters, correct?
I'll find out exactly. I can't remember. It was just the numbers, right? Yeah. Check sign up for website. Okay, I'll get that information out. Okay. We spoke about before, we were the first one to apply for SFA benefits, the first insolvent, and first one to apply back last year. We were the first insolvent fund that was approved, and of course, to keep our streak going, we were the first one to file for the supplemental benefits. application. We recently received an additional $114 million in SFA funds from the government to be added on top of the 700 and something we've already received. So that was based on the final rule of the PBGC versus the interim rule, which was in place when we first applied. And you heard me speak about the impact of not just that additional money in terms of how they calculated what we should have received, but additionally how we could invest that money once we did get it. They said that we can only invest that money in fixed income securities, which is very stable. Well, this year hasn't been very stable. Actually, it's been a crazy year in the market. Anybody that follows it, fixed income has actually gone down, which is unusual. Generally, they work differently with each other, and equities versus fixed income. But this year was a little different. But in the long term, that's generally the way it works. They have now, under the final rule, is allowed funds that have received SFA funds to invest that money in what they call return-seeking investments, which is basically equities. But they're very tight restrictions on it. They got to be registered securities, no hedge funds, no different kind of crazy investments. But being able to invest 30% of our equity money in equities gives us the ability to make a return that is probably in the 5 to 6% range, even just investing 30%. The new rule now is that you have to have 2 years, at least 1 year, but we have 2 years of money in cash investments. So we have it in treasuries right now, which we're doing pretty good. So the problem in the past was if you had to sell because we pay out significantly more in benefits than we receive in contributions on a regular basis. So when the market was down, you had to sell at a loss to be able to pay benefits. Now we have the ability to go into this cash account and still have your investments being able to earn money and have an opportunity to be able to come back up. As anybody that knows or has been invested in the stock market, it's very rare for there to have been more than a 2-year decline. So generally, if you had a stock market and you had a downturn, generally within 2 years it's back at least to where it was, so you're not selling at a loss. And that's part of the reasons you're going to that debt spiral, is that you're selling equities at a loss, pay benefits, and you can never recover because you don't own them anymore. And you only lose money in the stock market if you sell that stock while it's down. This gives us the ability not to have to do that. And we think that we can get a steady 5 to 6% return, along with the ability to invest and raise our interest assumption rate, and also be able to get the extra $114 million. This pension fund is going to be in a good place for a very long time, well past 2051. And that's something that I'm going to make sure that is going to happen. Not 2051 is a long way off. I like to think I'm going to be here in 2051, but take my word for it. I'm going to set the groundwork and make sure that that is the case. And we're in a good place right now, and we're going to stay there. So, anybody else have anything about the pension fund? Yes.
Now with the everything that got passed and money come in, I still don't understand where does the current people stand in terms of what the actual rate is, because it seems like the rate is less than what the PBGC was giving.
It is.
Yeah.
I think,
Yep.
what are we gonna do about this?
So here's what we're going to do about it, okay? So we are currently speaking with 2 groups. First is YRC, second group is with the PBGC. Now, there's in the rule when we took this money is that they say that you can't increase benefits, okay, for a certain amount of years. And but we think that we have a way around that. We're working on that, and that is to create almost a supplemental fund where additional contributions can be treated differently, okay? And we want those additional contributions to come from YRC and to be treated differently than our current accrual rate for your pension, for each year of pension benefit. So the problem is that and Roy's solution was to say just dip into the 700 million and make it all up. The problem is that the law doesn't allow you to do that. You can't retroactively increase benefits, okay? But what we can look at is going forward, new contributions, we can change the formula specifically for YRC members, which we plan to do when we get those new contributions. Currently in discussions with YRC about, or Yellow, whatever they're called, to be able to get additional contributions based on some way to make that happen. I know it sounds a little unclear, but the contract basically says they can't make new contributions, but we might have found a way around that. So we're currently in discussions with the PBGC, development of a new supplemental pension plan that attaches to this plan that allows us to get an increased benefit for YRC members, okay? And I can tell you next year when YRC is at the table, that the new General President, Sean O'Brien, is going to ensure, not ask for, ensure that YRC makes significant increases into the pension and also into wages. And they have a year to figure out how to do that. If not, they're gonna have a very tough time. So we expect to be able to make some fundamental changes in the accrual rates, which are too low for any of the new Penn and Yellow employees we have right now. We are addressing them. We have some hurdles to get through, but like a lot of the other hurdles we've faced in the past, we've gotten through them, and we did a pretty good job of getting through them. You have my commitment that I will continue to work to make that happen.
We know what our credit is worth. I don't understand why it's understood.
Okay.
With the new formula that you want to try to work out, would it still equal to the credit that ABF and T4, well not T4, but would it still come to the same dollar amount as what ABF is paying, or would it be less?
Right now, ABF is paying about $11 and change into the pension fund. Yellow is paying $1.82. So I can't tell you that we can get them up to $11, but I can tell you that we can make the value of the money that you're gonna be putting in based on new contributions is gonna get you a bigger benefit, significantly larger benefit than we would get on the old money, which is your $1.82 or the ABF's $11. Okay, so we have a long way to go. Okay, and in terms of the amount of the accrual of your pension, there is a formula. I'll give you the exact number. It's I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll get it to you. It's based on your contributions times an accrual rate. So the hours you worked times the dollar amount of that contribution, and there's a denominator. I don't know it off the top of my head. I want to give you the wrong number, but it's a little less than 0.5%. Okay, so you take the $1.82 times the number of hours that you worked times that denominator. That will give you the number. Yes, Christine?
I just want to know, we still have people that sit on YRC's board, right? We have two?
I'm not sure what's going on with that. Yeah, we do. They have, according to the contract and to that agreement, they're still board members. I don't know who's sitting on there.
Right,
But
the second question is anybody, do they even have any money? That's the second question. Because it seems to me that they've spent quite a bit of money the last couple of years for the money they've received. And it seems now that things are a lot tighter than they were once before. So to me, that means they don't have any money.
Well, they're not ready to write us the check, okay?
Why doesn't 707 lend it to them? Guys just don't pay all the retro.
We don't, as I said before, there's very tight restrictions on how we can use that money. So, how we invest it, how we use it, and they made it quite clear that is not for retroactive benefit payments, other than the ones that had been reduced. So, all right. Anything else on the pension? Okay. With that, the last thing I have is besides the 50-50, remind me to pull that, the scholarship fund. It's getting a little more complicated now. Not on our end, we still have the local 707 scholarship fund, and that is, you should have all gotten these notices about all the scholarship funds. Did everybody in the Stewarts get them? Okay, so the first one is for the local 707 scholarship fund. We give out 2 scholarships to active children. And what do we do? 1 boy, 1 girl. Did we give it? Did we change that? Is it 1 boy, 1 girl still, Bob?
It's 1 boy, 1 girl.
1 boy, 1 girl, and then a 1 scholarship to the grandchild of one of our retirees that eligible for a scholarship. But we also, and this is amazing, we give out how many of these $10,000 computer gift certificates, whether it be for Apple or Dell or whatever, you have your choice. And a lot of times we have to chase people to say, hey, you know, you could get this $1,000, you know, even though you didn't win the scholarship. So to make sure you apply, because you know, quite often they don't always go. And like so make the application, and whether or not you have the highest, your child or your grandchild has the highest SAT score, we have these gift certificates that are laying around. I'm sure everybody, the kid goes to school, they need at least $1,000 for a new computer.
Got to be in by May 1st.
By May 1st is the deadline for the 707 application, and we'll remind you of that. Additionally, we've had the James R. Hoffa Scholarship. Now there's a new scholarship through the Teamsters, and that is the Teamsters Scholarship Fund. So you can apply for for that information. You go to teamster.org, and you'll see the applications for both of those, James R. Hoffa and also the Teamster Scholarship Fund. So there's money out there, and I think Johnny passed around. We've got the information on why there's 2 different scholarship funds now through the IBT. But ensure if you have anyone that's going to be graduating this year, make sure you apply for that. And
There used to be, on the Hopper one, there used to be one for a grandchild too. I don't know if it's still in there or not.
I don't know. I don't know. So,
What happened to the grandchildren for the local 707?
Still there.
How did that work?
for the retiree of a grandchild.
What about
Not
active?
an active?
No.
I asked that question before.
No, it is only, you have to be a member of the local 707 retiree
So
club.
Gabriella doesn't count it.
And,
Okay.
yes, you have to,
I did ask that a while back.
okay, yes.
Let me remind everybody,
Andy.
I had a grandson that happened to win the scholarship, and you really have to push the teenagers to fill out the form. My daughter had to push him, and he won. But, you know, it was the last minute type of thing, and it's just the way kids are, they're, you know.
No, my kids were never like that.
Well, certain ones, you know, so you push them, and you get them to fill out that form, it does benefit.
I think
He was,
people being on the executive board of the retirees should maybe make a change in your bylaws that maybe an active Teamster.
But what happened to the pension? Some of us can't
Can
retire.
have their
I know,
grandchild.
I know.
Good points, can have their grandchild apply.
So we'll take a look at,
707.
so let me say this. So we I think it's time we take a look at the scholarship fund. We've got a few bucks in there. Maybe it's time that we can expand the horizons of our scholarship fund. Point well taken. We'll take a look at that and make sure you remind me about that. All right. So
Oh, we will.
I know. That's why I asked you to. Christine's pretty good like that too, but she does it in a nicer way than you do, Roy. But,
I didn't think Roy was old enough to have a grandchild.
yeah.
Order me up and walk us out.
Maybe sell more tickets. We gotta change
I'd like to
that.
ask this question about the pension. Does ERISA laws apply to any local 707 pension fund?
Of course, every it always has, and
Okay.
it's definitely covered under RISA. No question about that. So, okay, and each meeting we had these veterans pins, and I think the rollout of it could have been better. But every meeting, I guess if there's any veterans that didn't get a pin, I usually bring them up. I forgot the pins, so please, I want to get with the stewards to make sure that you've gotten enough pins for any one of the veterans you've had on your job. We want to make sure they're recognized for not only the service to local 707, but the service to our country. So the stewards, if you need more pins or you don't or you didn't get them, please let me know. We want to make sure that we get those pins out to our veterans. So. I have nothing else. Does anybody have anything else that they want to bring up? Okay. With that, we'll do the 50-50. Andy, who's pulling it?
You're an honest one, Andy.
Look for an honest face here. Nah, I don't see one either.
Raise your hand.
125, Andy. 125 is here.
125 to the winner?
Yes.
Whoa.
Hey, you got the newlywed.
The newlywed.
He's gotta be honest.
All of them split?
Yeah. I'll look at the number there.
Nice little shake in there.
My guy, shake him up.
All right, here we go. All right, the winner is 878714. 714 the last three.
741. Who's got that?
714. 714. 878714. Boy, I'm close, but no cigar. Hold on. All right, very good. All right. Okay, with that, we'll have a, and by the way, all that money goes to the Retirees Club to continue.
You said 714.
I did say 714.
It says 714.
Yeah. Right, we can't have two 714s. You don't have it, do you? Okay. Look again, Ray. All right. Does anybody have anything else?
T-shirts in the back.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Hey, one more thing. I have tasked John Zapoli and Chuck White with rejuvenating our store. We're gonna have new jackets that are a little more trendier. We're gonna get some more. We're gonna have some cool hats. They promised me, and so anyway, so this stuff will be available. We'll have it out there. It won't be just that old school stuff that John's father would make us buy. So we'll be able to. We're gonna have a new assortment, and these guys are gonna make it available to everybody on the job site and make it easier for you to purchase.
T-shirts are in the
And we
back.
do have T-shirts, some of those old school T-shirts in the back if anyone wants to buy them. Okay? With that, do we motion to adjourn? Motion by Ike and Anthony, that makes it easier for the recording secretary. All in favor?